Every once in a while, someone that we feel that we know very well comes along and surprises us. It may be the person that does something really out of character, something that we would never expect from this individual. It may be the person who responds to something that we say in a totally unexpected way. Or it may be that the person does even more than we ever thought that he or she could do. Our gospel story today has some people quite surprised by Jesus. And these are people who knew Jesus very well. We know from the Gospels that Jesus was very close to Martha and Mary and their brother Lazarus. Jesus visited them in their home in Bethany many times. And so he enjoyed sharing meals and sharing time with his family. And so when Lazarus became ill, his sisters sent word to Jesus. That's what we've just heard in the Gospel. But we also hear Martha's surprise that Jesus took so long before coming. Martha clearly said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Now, there's certainly a note of faith in what Martha said, but perhaps even some anger. Why weren't you here? We sent word. What kept you? Why have you waited for 4 days after he died? Clearly, Martha was surprised at Jesus' failure to come and to help. But soon, Jesus surprises Martha again. It has now been 4 days since Lazarus has died. Clearly, to Martha, there is nothing more that Jesus can do. But he wants to see where Lazarus has been buried. And on the way to see it, Jesus wept at the death of his friend. Then Jesus commands that the stone be rolled away from the entrance to the cave where Lazarus is buried. And Martha once again expresses her concern about the smell of the dead body. But Jesus is very firm. And then Jesus gives the command, "Lazarus, come out." And once more, Martha is surprised. Jesus is Lord, even of someone who has died. Lazarus comes forth, and Jesus commands, "Untie him and let him go." Martha and Mary had surely known of Jesus' miracles. Perhaps they were even present at some of those events. And surely when they were not present, they heard the stories of all that Jesus was able to do. But this, to be able to raise their brother after all this time, this is more than they ever imagined. Jesus has power over something as final as death. In this Lenten season, we become especially aware of God's mercy and God's compassion. Jesus heals the blind man and welcomes the Samaritan woman at the well. Today he raises Lazarus. And now that mercy and love are directed toward us. We have these words to encourage and to renew and strengthen us. Because sometimes we are the ones now who need to be raised to new life, to new hope. Sometimes we get trapped in a kind of tomb. If we can accept this great gift of Jesus' love and mercy, really accept it into our lives, then perhaps we can seek reconciliation with someone from whom we've been alienated. If we can really accept the love of the Lord into our lives, perhaps we can overcome finally that resentment that we've held on to. Perhaps we can find the courage and the strength to risk loving again after we've been involved in a broken relationship or some kind of betrayal. If we can accept that love into our lives, perhaps we can be convinced that God will help us deal with a habit or addiction that has plagued us for so long. Jesus today offers us life just as surely as he offered it to Lazarus. Today, Jesus is revealed to us as being able to touch even the worst aspect of human life, death itself. Can we allow the Lord to touch our lives, our hurt, our seemingly impossible situation? Perhaps what we are not able to do alone, we may be able to do if we allow the Lord's presence and love to truly touch our lives. Jesus wants us to be free to be the best that we can be. Untie him and let him go. Those were Jesus' words to Lazarus, to the people there, and they are Jesus' words to us today. Untie him, untie her, and let them go.